7:04, we'll call the meeting to order. We have 4 members of the commission, so we have a quorum. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
United States of America,
To the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and
justice and
justice for all.
Okay. Correspondence. Terry's not here, so I'll do it. From a resident, Sergeant Sagan. Resident expressed appreciation for his Sagan's for his professionalism and assistance after a 3-car motorcycle accident or motor vehicle accident. A resident's brother-in-law to Cushman, Valco, and Robbins. The resident's relative contacted SPD after discovering his deceased in-law. The responding officer is professional, compassionate, and caring. They made a painful day a bit easier to deal with. Another from a resident on Sergeant Sagan. Resident became lost after going on a hike with her dog. Sergeant Sagan was able to find and assist her back to her vehicle. She was grateful for his help. Public audience. The chief tells me that we have no one is asked to be in the public audience. And no one has sent in any correspondence that would require our reading. Approval of the minutes. Folks had a chance to look at the minutes for the 14th, meeting on the 14th. If there's no additions or corrections, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted. From anyone?
I move to approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right. Unanimously passed. Old business. The Memorandum of Understanding. Have you had any new news on this, Michael?
My hand is smoking. This document was received just a little while ago. First of all, I'd like to say hello to Commissioner Schweitzer. We've never met. We've never talked. Welcome aboard. It's good to have you on the commission. And I hope you enjoy being with us and can serve for a long time. Welcome. Now on the MOU, there have been a few back and forths. I sent out what was purported to be the last draft just over the weekend. Turned out to be not the last draft. And I spent time with the town attorney, several hours actually, sitting at this very desk, going over things. And I now have in my hand something that came in within the past hour from the town attorney's office that looks to me to be what it was that we finally absolutely agreed to, along with the corrections and the errors and omissions that Commissioner Caulfield spoke about, and that Commissioner Schweitzer spoke about, and that everyone spoke about, really. But I haven't been able to review it in total detail. I will send it all to you this evening. I could probably do it almost the same time we're having the meeting, but it certainly doesn't allow time for you to actually look at it and evaluate. But as far as I'm concerned, as I say, I've looked at the thing from a substantive standpoint, and I believe it does exactly what we asked it to do, and I think it's fine. But I do have that in reserve until I can, really look at it in detail, and until all of you can look at it as well. But I know that it's being looked at tonight upstairs in the building, on Zoom from the building that you are in Commissioner Cosgrove and Chief Bolter. And I believe that they are going to approve it this evening. I don't know how exactly to do this, but I would like to suggest that we conditionally approve it at our meeting, subject to one last view by each of the commission members at its earliest opportunity. And that we report back to you, Mr. Chairman, I guess that, what our feelings are. And that we can then circulate, and I will circulate this draft along with the signature sheet that came with it. This little guy right here. And we could all sign off on it as a police commission, then I would feel very comfortable with it. I hope that almost a year's worth of, actually 3 years worth of discussions on this in 1 year, specifically after January when we requested that a town attorney be involved with it. I think we are at an end. I wish that we could have seen this and voted tonight, but I think conditionally we could do that, or we could, I could send it out now and you could ask for a written report, Mr. Chairman, from each of the members saying, yes, that's what we agreed to.
Okay.
I don't know how you have to proceed on that, but I think we can proceed on it.
Okay.
That's the good news.
And hopefully the town attorney will give the same copy of the document to the Board of Selectmen that he sent to us. So we're all on the same page.
I didn't say that. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy we've gotten to this point because I think it's a major step forward, and the involvement with the deputy town manager as a liaison with us, I think should bode well for the future. I certainly hope so.
Well, thank you very much. You did yeoman duty on this one, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Great effort.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving to reports. The chairman has no report. Chief, you have anything to report?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Just a quick update on the radio system. Marcus, the company that has been chosen to install and implement the new radio system, is working on some of the background work and potentially setting up some of the portable radios and some of the hardware while we wait for a lot of the other equipment to come in, which we're still looking at potentially a couple months out. Brett Marchand from the town IT department has been assigned to help us with the implementation of the new radio system. Brett not only has a wealth of knowledge regarding technology, but he has an extensive public safety experience and a comprehensive understanding of all of our town needs. So we're really welcoming Brett's participation in the process of the new system, and he'll be working very closely with Lieutenant Sheehan and Deputy Town Manager Melissa Appleby. I had mentioned to you last month that I was looking for the final report from CLIA, our national accreditation, and that is now available on our website. So you could go to the police website at simsbury-ct.gov/police. And on the left side, just like all the other town pages, are a bunch of options to choose from there. And if you choose CLIA accreditation, it will take you to our accreditation page. And there is a report there called the 3-year CLIA compliance report. And it was a very good report showing us in compliance with 101 standards that were reviewed in August and September. As far as
Hey, Chief, just real quick, congratulations to you and the team on getting that accomplishment. I mean, it's an administrative hurdle, but it's a nice one to have, posted on the website. And I think it's a feather in your cap. Good job.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it has taken a lot of work and a lot of dedication over the years. And you may not be familiar with this, but the commission brought the accreditation process to the town many years ago, and we were able to really jump on the state accreditation process in the early 2000s, going through those tiers and then onto the CLIA accreditation, which began in 2008. And it really has been a big benefit for us. So thank you, sir. Deputy Chief Chris Davis started with us on October 26th. We have a scheduled formal swearing-in ceremony for him this Thursday, November 12th at 2 p.m. Due to the pandemic, and I'll share my screen with you so you're able to see this, but due to the pandemic, we will have a very different sort of ceremony. It will be in one of the conference rooms here in Town Hall. We will have a very limited amount of people who will be physically in attendance, but anybody can watch this live on Simsbury Community Television. The link is right there. Tomorrow, I will post this on the front page of our website so people are aware of how to get there. On the left side is live streams, and you'll see right on there the announcement for his swearing in. And you just click on that at the time of the event, and you're able to participate and watch that event as well. We are still in the selection process for sworn officers. As you know, we have 3 patrol officer vacancies to fill. We're in the background process with 2 applicants right now, and an oral board here has interviewed 22 applicants since September, and more are scheduled for later this week. The dispatch vacancy announcement for the 7th dispatch position closed this past Saturday. There were a total of 53 applicants, and we will be scheduling interviews for that position as well. We are expecting to begin the lieutenant process within the next week or 2, so that announcement will come out. Before moving on to the consolidated monthly report, just again touching on motor vehicle thefts in town and within the region. It's still month after month is a problem for the town, for the region, for the state, and for New England. We are up to 31 stolen cars so far in Simsbury this calendar year, compared to 13 last year at this same point. And again, the common denominator is unlocked vehicles and keys or key fobs left in their cars. And Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for my report.
Thank you. The preliminary monthly activity report, does anybody have any, you've been able to look at these, anybody have any comments?
I have a question, not specifically about that. The sector rules, are we still operating under those? How has that been going if we are?
Yeah, so we still are operating under those, and the enforcement aspect, the designated parties or town departments are still the same, who are responsible for that, and we are responsible for some of those. We still continue to work very closely with the Farmington Valley Health District, with the town manager's office, and the other designees in looking at some potential issues. Overall, it has been very good.
Okay. As far as the reports go of activities, does anyone have any comments? Hearing none. The next item is the meeting schedule for this year. Has everyone got a chance to look at it? And does the dates present any problems to anybody? I know it's tough with you guys that travel, to look at dates 6 months from now and know if you're going to be busy or not. But if you know of anything, vacations or anything like that, that would affect this, let us know. Okay. And then the final is the preliminary FY22 budget. Chief, you've submitted some paperwork here on that, and advise everybody to take a look through and see how it compares. This year to next year, and there doesn't seem to be any big differences. Hopefully, it'll be more money because we're going to have more people. But any other thing that pops out as far as a large change?
Can you clarify? I don't remember the 3 additional officers on the non-static proposed budget. Does that bring us up to the town average of surrounding towns? Does that bring us to where we had talked about last year?
Yep. So if you don't mind, I'll share my screen again with you. And that's exactly what it will do here. So this is up to date as of the 1st of November this year. It's the same document that was produced last year, meaning the same towns and the same areas that we're looking at for comparison. So you look at the officer rate per 1,000, which is the second column from the left. And the national average is 1.9 officers per 1,000 residents. Northeast, it's 1.8, New England, 1.9, and Connecticut, 1.9 as well. Simsbury is at 1.6 with our 39 officers. What we often look at also is the personnel subcommittee comparable towns. These are the ones down below. Avon, Bloomfield, Canton, Farmington, and so on. And they're at about 1.72. So I'll go further down on the document here. You can see where we are currently with 39 officers right here. It gets us at about a 1.6 ratio or rate. And so it would take 42 officers to get us to that 1.72, which would be the comparable towns. Still under the state average, still under the regional average, and still under the national average. This is not an absolute number that we should be looking at, that this is the only way to go. This is just one way of looking at staffing levels.
Some towns have major highways and more traffic and more businesses and things like that, that would generate, I would think, more police activity. We're fortunate in that, we don't have a lot of robberies and stuff like that, but still, we've had a huge increase in the amount of people in town. And, I think we should move forward with trying to get more police so that we're at least, if not at the average, close to it.
So last year we had talked about getting to the number of 42 or 43. Through the budgeting process, we were able to get one more officer, one more sworn person. We also had considered hiring a accreditation specialist and being able to move a sworn officer into some other positions. Because of vacancies, because of things that have happened, we have not been able to have our traffic enforcement officer in place since 2017. I feel there is a significant need to have a dedicated traffic officer. We have also not been able to fill the third slot in our detective division for many years. So us getting closer and closer to that number of 42 would allow for those two positions that I spoke about that are not new positions, but in order for us to fill those without exhausting the members, taking care of patrol responsibilities, and allow us to do those events that we want to do, those community-based events of going to fairs that happen in town outside of the pandemic, education opportunities, meet and greet opportunities, trunk or treat events that we've had in years past. Having enough officers to be able to join in all of those events without it, costing the town a lot of money in overtime and without exhausting our resources. So the closer we get to that 42, the closer I believe that we are to where we would like to be.
You don't anticipate any more officers on the 11 to 7 shift or than we have now?
So I think we have staffed the 11 to 7 shift adequately.
Okay.
Depending on what is actually happening in town, depending on crime waves and other things that happen, we could shift one person to that as a temporary means of trying to calm some things. But for the most part, that shift is run okay with the numbers where we are at now and the numbers where we were at 2 years ago, which would be an additional person there.
So if we get the 3 additional officers
Yes.
and we're successful in getting the lieutenants, we don't anticipate any of these going on to other than the first shift. Most of these positions are going to be filled on
That is
activity.
correct.
Okay.
That is correct. Yeah. And as you recall, we had an officer dedicated to traffic enforcement from
Yes.
2008 till about 2017. And he handled a lot more than just what you would typically think of as traffic enforcement. Did a lot of the traffic surveys, checked out signs. A lot of our local traffic authority advice came from his measurements of sight restrictions, stopping distances, being in locations where he would just calm the traffic as opposed to just finding nothing but speeding. A lot of things. In our detective division that has not been staffed with 3 detectives in many years, and I think that would be a big benefit to this town to be able to staff that with the 3rd detective.
Super. Okay, let's see. I've lost my place here. Oh, excuse me. Let me get back on it. The meeting schedule for next year. Again, if you could take a look at it and get back to me or the chief about days that might be a conflict. We can, when we have 5 members, so if we have 3, we have a quorum. It's better if we have all 5. So just, there's anything here in the past, I've never been available in February. This year, it looks like I'm not going anywhere. Boo, hiss. So February won't be a problem this year.
Hey, would you mind if I circle back to the budget real quick?
Sure.
So, Chief, a couple questions for you. Just looking at the change between 21 and 22, and a couple of items stick out with large percentage changes.
Yeah.
One is the training overtime, and then another is the chemical and lab supplies. Can you just explain the larger increases just for educational purposes?
Sure. Yep. Yeah, certainly. So I'll start with the overtime training. So we're looking at 2 major training enhancements for this coming fiscal year. One would be what maybe people refer to as de-escalation. We just had some officers go through what we call active diffusion strategies. And we plan on having each member go through those classes within the next year. So we're anticipating that there will be some overtime on that because we have to get all sworn members on all different shifts with 3 instructors. We also plan on continuing that, whether it's a modified program or whatever it is, a refresher on a regular basis. So that accounts for roughly 75 additional hours at an overtime rate within a fiscal year. In addition to that, we're really looking hardly at some scenario-based training. I think that our instructors have done a tremendous job over the years increasing our training in regards to scenarios, but we're looking at use of this system, whether it is a 3D type system or virtual reality system. It's scenario-based. It provides you with thousands of different options. It's interactive with the officer, and it provides a good training platform to be able to review what the scenario was and what you made for choices and how you could best continue. So that is roughly 150 hours that we are anticipating in potentially overtime costs, because it's 300 hours of overtime. So, roughly there's 450 hours of overtime in addition to what we're doing this year in training is what we're predicting. I think that those two types of trainings are critical. And I think that what we're looking at is a definite improvement in our abilities to be able to train and serve this community. So that's one of the reasons why the overtime training went up about $16,000. It equates to about 450 hours of overtime at a overtime rate, at your average overtime rate. An additional one, you picked up on the chemical and lab supplies. I mean, it's an 87% increase, but it really goes from $80 to $630.
Yeah, it's not significant, but it just it's
Yeah.
a change. So I thought, okay,
Yeah,
there's
so
there's some product we're picking up.
it is. Yeah, it's just so happened we need a refill on our plastic evidence bags. It's a large tubular. We create our own size bags for evidence processing. So we get an item that's, say, this size, and instead of having a pre-made bag for it, we have rolls of plastic with heat seal. So we create so we didn't need to purchase one last year. We purchased one either year before last for that. So we'll need one then. But there are some other large ones, that would stand out, like, the regular overtime account. That's an increase of $25,000. We had sort of had this plan of a $25,000 increment for 3 years to get up to where we think is a very reasonable number.
Great. And then my follow-up was really for the gang here, as a new guy here. I know we need to move forward with the budget by January. What's the next step here as we turn this draft into something that everyone agrees upon?
Excellent question. Thank you for bringing that up, because the dates, our next meeting is January 11th. The due date that we've agreed to in this MOU to have our budget in is the first Friday in January, which is January 8th. So this budget has to be submitted prior to our next meeting. And the chief and I have talked about that briefly. And Nick, how are we going to satisfy ourselves that we've done our due diligence and that we can support, what we are submitting when we meet with the selectmen later in January to justify it? I think that's about the same as you're asking, Travis, I think.
I had a meeting in December. Just want to make sure that that's not happening so I don't show up here by myself.
I'm sorry.
We do have one.
Okay. We have a meeting in December.
Yes, we do. Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Right.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Phew.
Are we going to try to work that one out, Nick, as a major budget review, or?
So I mean, my suggestion is I don't know if during the MOU process, if it was considered the timing of the meetings, but one potential option would be to be able to submit your budget after the January 7th. After our January 11th meeting.
Well, our January 11th meeting.
Yeah.
Our meeting is in January.
Yeah, as opposed to January 7th.
We hate to start off the first major thing in our agreement and say, whoops, we need another 4 days. So that's important apparently from the administration standpoint, that they have it in by that Friday, so that the succeeding week that they can go forward with their processing. So I really don't think we want to be in a position of pushing that off right away. So Jen is right. We do have our regular December meeting, but do we want to take that time and go through this in some more detail, or do we want to have a special, as we have sometimes in the past, a special meeting simply on the budget?
So just to give you a little bit of idea of what my process has been up until today, for instance, the full-time the full-time account here, I take a look at every single member of the police department, if they are looking for, or if they're, if they are in a step process, everybody has been given their step, that would be expecting a step in that next year. So those numbers, for instance, are quite accurate. And this is proven to be very accurate over the years. The other categories, I do have long lists of what these are made of. And, if anybody has, any concerns of those, I can certainly, have conversations with those or provide more information on these. I've had, a couple different eyes on this. I have contributions from different parts of the police department providing what their needs are for this. So it's gone through a review or an internal review process here. If the police commission is interested in the 3 additional officers and the CALIA or the accreditation specialist, then we have one draft we could go by that would be very accurate in what I believe are our needs. Prior to the December meeting, I will have a couple more budgets for you. One would be the animal control officer budget, and the second will be the emergency preparedness budget. The animal control officer budget is a fairly simple one to present and to go through. I think that's a simple enough one. Where the emergency preparedness one will have a new component to it this year, in that changing over that radio system that we have. We went from a normal $7,000 warranty or maintenance agreement per year now to something that looks at $18,000 for the first year, $35,000 for the second year, $39,000, and it goes up and up, which in comparison to the other contracts that we were looking at prior to making this final decision, it's night and day. This is significantly less than we'll be paying with some of the other contracts. But that seemed to be a better place for that, the emergency preparedness, because our radio system is not specific to police only. Their radio system is the emergency services for the entire town. There is the Board of Education on there, Public Works is on there, our ambulance is on there, obviously the police is. There's several frequencies that emergency management can use, and then we have that connection to the fire department. So I think that's the proper place for that. So that will be new in that budget. Otherwise, there won't be any surprises in either of the animal control officer budget or the emergency preparedness. And the third component would be the capital. So I'll also give you by the end of, or by next meeting, is a list of the capital suggestions that I have. For instance, one of those would be replacing our variable message sign, one of our LED signs on the side of the road that provide different messages for people. Sometimes in emergencies, sometimes just as education. One of them is fairly old and has some problems with it. So I'll provide you with that prior to the next meeting.
Okay, that's good. I do think it's important, and Jen, I didn't mean to skip over the fact that we have a December meeting, but we do. But I think it's important that we, as members of the commission, understand the elements of this budget and why they're important, so that when we present it to the Board of Selectmen, obviously we have staff, we have chief and staff there to be presenting it in the backup, but we need to believe it too, and we need to understand it ourselves. And if we can do that at the December meeting with sufficient information ahead of time, then fine, that's good. That would be very good for us. But if we don't, I just want to make sure that we are comfortable with it before we have to submit it to the administration. And I don't, I really don't think it would be good for us to ask for a postponement of that submission at this point.
We have the 4th, 5th, and 6th of January. We have the 4th, 5th, and 6th of January if we have to schedule a special meeting to get that done.
In the month of December as well.
Plus all of December, right.
So that's all I was trying to highlight.
Okay.
And I think, Nick, it sounds like you guys have done really good stuff here for us, and that's important. And We just need to understand it and feel comfortable with it. So,
Understood.
thank you.
And for the team, if I mean that time frame in early January, if that's not sufficient, like if we need to go mid-December, I'm happy to do that unless we don't have all the other budget components to make a sound decision. Just in the event there's anything contentious that we need to scrub, that way we're not up against January 11th or the 7th, and
Amen.
we can't make changes appropriately. So however you want to play it.
Well, we'll see what happens on the December meeting. And if we're not fully there, we'll see what is involved with getting us there. And then we'll schedule the meeting as you suggested in December or possibly that first week in January.
Our December meeting is the 14th, mid-month. So that gives us time.
Okay.
Good.
Is there any other business to come before the commission?
I have one thing to suggest, if I may, to go back to the agreement itself. I will send this out to everyone right at the end of this meeting. And I will include in the signature sheet lines for each of us to sign off and get them back to you, I guess, Mr. Chairman. And maybe it was copied to me, or at least you, and you can get it back to me so I can get a hold of town council and tell them, we're ready to go. I have sneakily looked at it during this meeting, listening to every word that was said at the meeting at the same time. And it looks like they have picked up everything that we wanted and included the changes grammatically and gotten rid of her designee in the two places that it previously was, added the comma where they were supposed to, Jenna, and did the right things. So, but look at it, scrub it, and get back to us with a signed copy and an agreement, and we'll get it off and we'll get it done. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Anyone else? Michael?
Hearing nothing, I would like to, at this point, move that we adjourn.
Is there a
I
second?
second that. I second that motion.
Thank you.
Motion being made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, folks.